10 Bizarre Tribal Myths. As a definition, myths are traditional stories from a country or specific group of people concerning the early origins of the world or groups of people. They may include explanations to natural or social phenomena, which are often related to supernatural beings or events. It comes from the Greek word mythos, and we could use words such as fable or legend to make comparisons. When the first natural scientists were trying to catalog every tribe and creature that existed on this earth, they wrote down some strange things. If you traveled far enough away from civilization, they insisted, you'd find tribes of people without heads, with animal heads, or with their feet pointing the wrong way. In this video, we're going to talk about 10 bizarre tribal myths around the world. If you don't want to miss a video, please subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to get notified every time we post new videos. Let's get started. Number 10. Himba, Northern Namibia. The Himba are indigenous peoples with an estimated population of about 50,000 people living in northern Namibia, in the Kunene region, and on the other side of the Kunene River in southern Angola. There are also a few groups left of the Ovatwa, who are also Ova Himba, but are hunter-gatherers. Like all the Herero people, the Himba stock breeders belong to the Bantu linguistic group. Coming from the Great Lakes region, they traveled across the Kunene River, today the border between Angola and Namibia, for the first time in the 16th century. Number 9. Greek mythology. Each of the goddesses also offered Paris a gift as a bribe in return for the apple. Hera offered to make him the king of Europe and Asia Minor. Athena offered him wisdom and skill in battle. And Aphrodite offered to give to him the love of the world's most beautiful woman, Helen of Sparta. The war started because Paris, a Trojan, kidnapped Helen, Agamemnon's wife. Paris kidnapped Helen because Aphrodite promised him the most beautiful mortal woman. Aphrodite promised him the most beautiful mortal woman in order to win the beauty contest between her, Hera, and Athena. Number 8. The Egyptians believed life started with semen. The god Atum was believed to have created the universe by masturbating to ejaculation, in some other accounts sneeze. Atum is one of the most important and frequently mentioned deities from earliest times, as evidenced by his prominence in the pyramid texts, where he is portrayed as both a creator and father to the king. He created his children, the first deities, out of loneliness. The ancient Egyptians strongly believed that male masturbation was very important, and they were strongly convinced that their main source of livelihood had come from Atum's ejaculation, and it was their duty to keep it alive. Number 7. Abrahamic mythology, original sin. Original sin, also called ancestral sin, is a Christian doctrine of a state of sin in which humanity has existed since the fall of man, stemming from Adam and Eve's rebellion in Eden, namely the sin of disobedience in consuming the forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. God created the world out of nothingness in 6 days and rested on the 7th day. He created the first man, Adam, in his own image, and the first woman, Eve, from Adam's rib. He told Adam and Eve to enjoy the wonderful Garden of Eden, but not to eat the fruit of the tree of knowledge. Number 6. Everything in Central Africa is God vomit. Mbombo vomited and produced the sun, creating light and day. This caused the water to dry, which created land. Mbombo threw up a second time and created the moon and the stars, which divided day and night. The Bushongo tribe of Africa believed that even the gods could get tummy aches. One god in particular, named Bumba, had one of the worst cases of upset stomach in existence. Back when the world was only darkness and emptiness, the god Bumba noticed he was having some digestion pain, but given there was nothing to treat his problem, he had to just live with it until the situation sorted itself out. Number 5. Egyptian mythology, the true heir. Osiris becomes the first mummy, and the god's efforts to restore his body are the mythological basis for Egyptian embalming practices, which sought to prevent and reverse the decay that follows death. Osiris became first king of the Nile Valley, and he established a great kingdom, but his brother, Lord of the Desert, became jealous of him and invited him to a meal and then showed him a box. Osiris got into the box without suspecting a thing. Seth immediately sealed the box and buried Osiris alive. He then cut his body into tiny pieces and threw them in the Nile. Once Osiris is made whole, Isis conceives the son and rightful heir, Horus. Number 4. In Romania, a grumpy mole used yarn to weave the world. Romanian origin myth dictates that everything started with a ball of thread. God used this ball of thread to measure the distance between heaven and earth, and then set about creating the world. During this, a little mole popped up and asked God if he needed some help. God said sure, and asked the mole to hold the thread while he wove the earth. But he didn't give the mole very good instructions. The mole often let too much thread, and the world became too large. Number 3. Babylonian mythology, killing the mother. Inanna is an ancient Mesopotamian goddess associated with love, beauty, sex, war, justice, and political power. She was originally worshipped in Sumer and was later worshipped by the Akkadians, Babylonians, and Assyrians under the name Ishtar. She is the symbol of the chaos of primordial creation. In the Enuma Elish, the Babylonian epic of creation, she gives birth to the first generation of deities. Her husband Apsu, correctly assuming they are planning to kill him and usurp his throne, later makes war upon them and is killed. Number 2. A Mongolian loon tries to create land, and God breaks his leg. God breaks the leg of a Mongolian loon who tried to create land. In the beginning, Father Heaven had 2 sons, Ulgan Tenger and Elreg Khan. At that time, the world was completely covered in water. Angry with his failure, Ulgan broke his legs as punishment so that he would be unable to walk. Ulgan Tenger noticed that the world was completely covered in water with no land to be seen, which was pretty boring. To fix this, he called upon the loon and asked him to bring up mud from deep under the water in order to create land. And at number 1, Polynesian mythology, creation. When the space between the earth and sky was wide enough, the sons decided to make humans. They worked together to mold people out of red clay. When they had finished, Tain, god of the forest, took the figures of man and woman and, pressing his nose to theirs, breathed the spirit of life into their lungs. Scholars believe that humans first migrated to Polynesia from Southeast Asia about 2,000 years ago. These people carried with them their mythological traditions about events, deities, and heroes. As time passed and people moved to different island groups, they adapted their mythology and religious beliefs to suit their new environments. These were some of the most interesting and surprising tribal myths believed by various people across the globe. Hope you guys liked the video. Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so and hit the notification bell. See you in the next video.